Hey guys, it's Carrie at My Table 3. Today I am happy to welcome you back. I hope that if you're new here, you'll enjoy the videos that you find on my channel. If you're returning, it's great as always to have you. I hope you are enjoying the canning videos that I've been putting out. Today I am going to share with you how I can a pork loin roast. It's basically a large pork loin roast. It's not like the little pork loins that you'll find that sometimes come marinated. It's larger. It has like a fat cap on top. I get them on Aldi. Sometimes Kroger's has them, but it is a really good pork to can. It just has that fat cap, like I said, and it if not cooked right, it could be a little bit tough, but I love it canned. So many things you can use it for. And yeah, so let's jump in and get started. I also got chicken going, which by now you've already seen that video on canning chicken, but let's jump into our pork recipe today, and let me show you how I can it and how easy it is for you to can it. Okay, so here is the pork loin that I cut up in just about 1-inch cubes. I'm going to get it in this pan and I'm going to cook it about 2/3 of the way, not all the way. Basically this step is just getting this meat to release that first foamy, juices that meats do, the fat. So it'll cook up. I'm just going to throw this in there and not even brown it, just cook it 2/3 of the way, and then I'll take it out, strain it, and then we're going to put it in the jars to hot pack this pork loin roast. So I will be back when it's time to pack the jars. Alright you guys, so I got the pork 2/3 of the way cooked, remember not fully cooked, and we're going to start putting it in our hot jars. These jars just come out of hot, really almost boiling hot soapy water. Everything here has been sterilized. You need your funnel. You're going to need, of course, your debubbler, your lid lifter, and when you get ready to put them in the canner, your jar lifter. So I'm doing hot pack, which means, I showed you how we cooked them on the stove 2/3 of the way, and I'm going to put some of my pork broth. I heated it up in the Instant Pot so it's boiling. Here's what I used. I did this with some pork bones. Let's see, when did it say? In November of 20. So I need to use it, and I'm going to use it to hot pack this pork loin roast. So I'm going to go ahead and fill a couple of these. Just like with chicken or any meat, you're going to leave about an 1.5 to 1.4 to 1.5 of headspace in your jars. I have enough here for about 4 pints. You can just about get a pound per jar. Right now I'm just initially filling these. I'm going to go back, debubble. You guys will see me do that. Can you see me putting them in there? Okay. You can raw pack pork as well, just like you raw pack chicken. I do that often. When I show you the finished product of this, let me move this to get that hot pack pork, I'll show you a jar that I did raw pack. And if you check the center, I think it's the National Center for Home Food Preservation, just look up pork. It'll tell you how to raw pack, hot pack, all that, and give you the safe food measures that you want to follow. Alright, let's see. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our debubbler, because this is important. Not only will it get all the air, just use this out of the jars, it's going to help you get more pork into your jars, which you want to get about 1 pound in a pint. Most of the time, about 1 cup or 2 cups fit in there. And I do leave the fat cap on this pork loin. If you don't want it, or you don't like a little bit of fat in your jars after they have, cooled down, then you can trim the fat off. I just think it gives so much flavor, and we don't mind the fat. I just take it off the top when we get ready to use them, but it just gives it so much flavor. So really it's just a preference. Okay. Alright, so we got plenty of more space in here, so I'm going to add a few more pieces of pork to each jar. I was getting pretty low on pork, so I'm glad that I could use this opportunity to show you guys. Okay, so that's all I have. The jars probably could use a few more pieces, but unfortunately I am out of pork here. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and put some hot pork broth in here. My lids, I'll show you, I have them right here in really hot water off the way here. Can you see that? Okay. So now I'm going to put my funnel back on the top, and we are going to ladle our hot pork broth that I have off to the side here in. Now you could put salt in here for a half pint. Oh, well, sorry, these are pints. For pints, you could do a half a teaspoon of salt. I'm not doing it this time because this is my homemade pork stock, and I used a decent amount of salt in it. So I'm not going to add any salt. You can do garlic powder, onion powder, any of that you want to flavor it up. Now, I've heard that if you use some spices, the longer you keep it in your storage, the stronger they get. I use garlic in a lot of my raw pack chicken, or my ugly chicken as they call it, raw pack with no liquid. And because I don't put any liquid in there, I do flavor it up with garlic powder, onion powder, and salt. So it's just a personal preference thing. I like the idea of it being flavorful, but since I have this good broth in there, I'm not going to add any flavor to this. That way I could add it to any recipe I want to. Just a little bit more. I'm going to debubble again. Okay, let's watch it. Ooh, that's loud. Sorry, you guys. So we're going to take our debubbler, go all the way around your jars. Remember, this is important. You don't want air bubbles in there because you don't want it to mess with your seal or bubble up or cause any issues. So, alright. So, alright, there we go. You guys, the only difference in raw packing and hot packing as far as the pork goes is that it will be a little bit uglier. But, you know, canned food is never going to look as pretty as fresh pork or anything like that. Here's what this looks like. But anyway, I don't think it... I've done the pork both ways, and honestly, I don't think... Last one to debubble here. I'm talking, almost forgot. I don't think it does anything to the taste. But it may just make the cubes look a little better. Like if you want to use a hot pack pork for casseroles, it may look a little bit prettier. Because when you raw pack, it's definitely going to be... It's just going to fall apart. This will be extremely tender too. Ooh, hot. Tender too, so don't, whoops, I gotta start over. I forgot to show you a very important part. Okay, so what I just did there was I filled this lid up, debubble it, and I did not clean the top of the rim off, which is a no-no. So this is just white vinegar and a paper towel. We're gonna go around because this pork is fatty. We don't want that extra fat, you know, to cause our jars not to seal. This is also a good opportunity to make sure there's no cracks or nicks in your jars. Okay, let's try this again. We're going to put the lids on now. Ooh, it's so hot. Finger tight, which means just as tight as you can. Don't over tighten it because it will buckle. Your things may buckle because it's a lot of pressure in that canner, guys. So you don't want to do that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead. I'll do this last one for you guys and then... Alright, so there's that. I'm going to do this last one. I'm actually going to, looks like I'm one lid short, so I got to grab that really quick. But I'm going to put these in the canner. I actually have some chicken in there from another, I'm shooting chicken and pork today, which you'll see this pork later. The chicken's probably already out, so I will try and link to that in the description and in the eye in the sky here. But always check the description if you don't see it pop up here. So chicken video is already out, but this is actually, I'm canning to the same day, so I'm actually going to can this with the chicken because they both will can for 75 minutes. And at my altitude, let me turn you up so I can talk to you. At my altitude, it is at 11 pounds. I'm at about 860, 850 feet above sea level, so it's really important that you check your elevation because that will determine on the poundage or pressure that you need to can under. The higher you are, the higher your pressure needs to be. Mine's at 11, so I'm going to get these in with my other jars. I'm going to put the lid on and bring that up to a high steam. The little valve will be steaming a lot, and I'll show you that when we get to that point, okay? Let me finish this other jar and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so the jars, you know, I put the jars in there after we put the broth over them. And I don't know, hopefully you can see it, maybe you can't, but there is a hefty amount of hot steam coming out there. Let's see if I can catch it for you guys. Yeah, you can see it and hear it. So I'm going to let this do it now for 10 minutes. I'm going to hit my timer to kind of see that. I'm going to hit it on 10 minutes because you want it to do this for at least 10 minutes. And basically what I've read it's doing is just pushing all the air out of the canner. And got to let it be easier to build pressure once we put our the weight on it, which you will do after this. Now this is not when you start your timer. You'll start your timer after we get the 10 minutes down and put the weight on. Okay guys, so we are getting close to the 10-minute mark. You can hear the steam still going in my canner. A couple of things I wanted to talk to you about before because I don't think I mentioned it yet. I haven't watched the past clip, so if I'm repeating myself, forgive me, and besides, it's important information, so it's worth repeating. When it comes to pressure canning meat, remember it has to be pressure canned, no water bath. So it's important to know the pressure that you need to cook your meat at. So that will depend on the elevation of the city that you are in. So find out what you're at elevation, like above sea level is what I talk about. Here in my city in Arkansas, we're at about 800, a little bit over 800, like 850, 860. So I have to pressure can my meat at 11 pounds and hold it steady at 11 pounds for 75 minutes for pints. If you're doing quarts, you're going to do 90 minutes. Bigger time, right? So I'll tell you a little bit of what I do with my canner while we get it ready for this. As I was getting my meat cooked and my jars hot and clean, I slowly brought the water in the canner up. Check your canner booklet so you know how much water you're supposed to put in yours. Mine is a Presto 16 quart canner, so mine calls for 3 quarts of water or so many inches, but basically it comes with 3 quarts of water. So check your manual, make sure you are following the instructions carefully because it's important. And then yeah, so we are about 6 seconds away from putting the weight on, and you don't start your timer just yet. We'll talk about that in a minute. There it is. So we're going to turn off the timer. We're going to drop our weight timer until this gauge that's on your canner makes it to the pressure that you're trying to reach. So for me, it's 11 pounds. And I have the burner turned up really high. I've canned enough now to where I know about where my sweet spot is to hold it steady, because it's really important. Once you reach your pound pressure weight, which mine is 11 pounds, I will start a timer for 75 minutes since we're doing pints. And I will hold that at 11 pounds. It'll go over maybe a little bit, but not very much. But you don't want it to drop below the 11 pounds or whatever yours is, because basically your meat won't be safe. You have to hold it there. Check the center, the National Center for Food Safety, Home Preservation. And I say it wrong every time, but I'm going to link below for it, so that way you can click on it and check it out. You can also check with the ball canning websites, your booklet, ball canning books, which I'll show you. If I hadn't already, I'll show you before we close out the books that I use for canning, but just about there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my burner to where I know it's going to hold it at 11 and not drop. And I'm going to start my timer for 75 minutes. Which is basically an hour and 15 minutes. So I got it there. I turn my burner down. I know where it's going to go. Mine is, mine holds it around a number 4 on my burner. Sometimes I have to go about a 3.5, but I know that a 4 will hold it when it's full. I think I mentioned earlier the reason I'm canning pork and chicken today. They both can at the same pressure, same amount of time, but it also fills my canner up. I don't like canning with a half full canner. To me, it's hard for me to regulate the temperature, and I don't want to deal with that today. I want to be able to set it and know that it's going to be easy for me to regulate. So I'm not going to ramble anymore. I got a few other things to do while this cooks. And after this cooks, it will beep after 75 minutes, the timer, and then you will let this cool off completely. Do not remove the pressure gauge. You never want to do that. Never ever want to do that. You want this to cool down completely and slowly release the pressure that's built up in it. Please, please never do that. Never remove your pressure gauge or stop it really fast. Not only is it dangerous for you, but it will also cause siphoning in your jars. Your liquid to come out. It may cause your jars not to seal. It's just a mess. So be careful and follow instructions and let this slowly cool down all the way. Once it's cooled down all the way and I get the jars out, I'll come back and let you know what I'm going to do with those. Okay guys, so the canner has stopped. I realized that I have lost the footage, or actually I don't know if I lost the footage or if I forgot to record amongst everything that's going on, but the canner, it did go through the 75 minutes. I let it cool completely, and I have just now taken my jars out of the canner, the pork and all that. So I'm going to show you really quick over there what they look like, and you'll notice that they are still bubbling hot, so they need to be left on the countertop for 12 to 24 hours. I usually leave mine for 24 hours. After 12 hours, I will remove the rings from those and wash those with soapy hot water, and then I'll sit them on my counter and I'll leave them for another 12 hours. Then I'll test the seals again before I put them back in my food pantry. So let me show you those really quick, and you'll see the pork, which is the darker colored, and the chicken also that we've canned in the pressure cooker with it. Then I'll come back and talk about my book and show you the difference between my hot pack and the cold raw pack. Hot pack and raw pack. Okay, so you saw those. Those look amazing. I'm so excited. They actually have all pinged for me, or in layman terms, they've all made a popping sound, and so I can tell that they're all sealed, which is music to a canner's ears. So this is some, I'm going to show you the difference really quick in a hot pack and a raw pack really quick. Which, remember, the difference is with the hot pack that I just showed you how you can still see, this is the jars I've done before, it's from my last one, but and I've got it stirred up, but you can see there's a little bit of fat at the top here, right there. But you can still see individual pieces, and you can see that it kind of moves around in there. And this one is really good. I didn't have hardly any siphoning. You can still see it's where I filled it up there. So this was really good. It means I regulated the pressure really good, and it didn't siphon. Now let me show you a raw pack, which I've not shown you the process, but again, you can check your canning books for that. But can you see how this is ugly? Basically, you can't tell the definition between the pieces of pork like you can in this one. You can again see some of the fat. And this one, I had trouble with this one. I remember with this canner, a few of them siphoned, not all of them, but you can see that's why it has less liquid there, and so there will be some meat exposed. It's fine. You may have some discoloration, but not much here has happened. But so you can just see the fat. It's more fat. But anyway, so not so uglier, but they both taste really good. And I use those for things like pulled pork, casseroles, soups, like onions and peppers mixed with it for sandwiches. I do like barbecue pizza, pork pizza, I'll use that. So anything you use shredded pork for, you could use that for, casseroles, that thing. So there's the difference in my hot pack and my raw pack. Last thing I was going to show you was one of my favorite books. Now this isn't my only one, but I've had them out looking around, and this is the only one I could grab quick for you. It's The Ball Home Preserving. This one's new and updated. It has about 400 recipes for canning, and yeah, I really like it. Lots of things, and there is a canning. You would just look up meat, and it tells you how to do anything from venison to lamb to chicken and pork. So, and it does tell you raw pack or hot pack. So, gives you a lot of ideas. I'll put the link to this. You can get it at Amazon. Probably get it at your local store like Ace Hardware or Atwood's Farm Supply. Anything like that that sells canning supplies, or bookstores even will have this. But I'll link my affiliate link below. Again, don't feel obligated. Just a way for you to see it really quickly. So, yeah. Is that it? Hope so. So hopefully I'll give you a little bit of insight on how easy it is to can this pork that we canned today. Or this isn't the one we canned today, but you get the idea. So I hope you're enjoying your week so far. And I will see you guys on the next video. Till then, see you later.